Look at all our prep notes.
Here we go.
You're listening to Texas Real Estate with Todd Tramonte, brought to you by the Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, DP Lambert at Goose Insurance, and Stryker Roofing. And now your host, real estate broker, team leader, best-selling author, coach, consultant, and speaker, Todd Tramonte.
Donald Trump, Joe Biden. Donald Trump, Joe Biden.
That's both of them.
We cover that now?
Yep.
All right, moving on. Hey, welcome, folks. Welcome to Texas Real Estate with Todd Tramonte. I am Todd Tramonte. We got a full studio today with producer extraordinaire of all things audio and video, the young MG. Mason Goss is in the house with a microphone ready. Go.
That was the quickest intro I'd ever
We're coming in hot.
Also,
Impressive.
trivia night host
Thanks for
for a
having me.
recent conference we did, and oh my goodness.
Who's that dude
what
in the Daisy
stories
Dukes?
we have.
It's Mason. Hey, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. We've also got the English wonder, Yanni Donnie. And he's going to babble on about European soccer here for about 5 seconds before I mute him. Welcome, Ian.
Undefeated in the last 5 games.
Ooh, just like the debates. Also, how English are you going to be today?
Very.
How like
No,
on a
I'm not
scale
going to
of-
let you.
I got him. We muted him. All right, hey folks, we're coming in.
I'm going to be English, but I will say, U.S. citizen, though, I get to participate in the events of the next week.
Don't answer this, but who are you going to vote for? Just kidding. Don't answer that. Listen, we are going to talk about politics today. Joe Biden,
Am I still muted?
Donald Trump. We are going to talk about politics today. We are not going to tell you who to vote for. We are going to talk about how the election cycle will impact your home. Whether you want one, have one, want another one, want to upgrade, want to downsize, want to invest. We will talk about how voting and leadership matters and how it impacts your investment, your future, and as many elements of housing as we possibly can. Donald Trump, Joe Biden. Joe Biden, Donald Trump. Hopefully we have your attention because this conversation does matter. We're brought to you by Patrick Glaros and his team over at Cardinal Financial this afternoon, and we will we'll point you in his direction if you need mortgage help. That's what I do. That's who I call if my wife and I need mortgage help. That's what I've done for thousands of home buyer clients over the last 17 plus years. If you want to refinance because you realize that we are sitting on at or near historically low, all-time low mortgage rates, meaning that borrowing money to buy a house is cheaper, more affordable than it has ever been for most people, then you might want to reach out. What? Hit it again. Yeah. What? Yeah. 972-728-3420. 972-728-3420. Lil John likes it. I like it. Yeah. Everybody likes it. 972-728-3420 or online at patrickglaros.com, Glaros. And on all seriousness, there is no one in the market that I think will educate you through the process and help you secure mortgage financing in a more calm, collected, and valuable way than Patrick Glaros and his team over at Cardinal Financial, patrickglaros.com, Glaros.
I had 2 or 3 people specifically ask and write in questions this week on refinancing and mortgages. And I'm just telling people, I'm like, hey, I'm not your expert in that.
Right.
Go and talk to Patrick and he'll take great care of you.
Always call and text us because we'll be glad to give you a couple of names or point you in the direction of what you need and what's best for you. But when it comes to mortgage, it's Patrick Glaros, patrickglaros.com. Now, we've said it about 27 times already, but Joe Biden, Donald Trump. We're going to talk some politics. Now, we're not going to do that immediately. So if you've got questions, send those in. We will take your questions throughout the show today. We want to take your questions throughout the show today because the whole point of this show is to add value for you to make home ownership or your path to home ownership a more peaceful and prosperous and safe and secure, comfortable, exciting journey. And you can find a lot of resources online at treradio.com. That's short for Texas Real Estate, treradio.com. radio.com. You can find all of our recommended pros. You can find links to recent and past radio show excerpts. You can find your way over to our YouTube channel, where we have hundreds and hundreds of educational videos about real estate, specifically in Dallas, Fort Worth, and surrounding areas. Producer Mason puts in a lot of work over there, pointing the camera at me and team members and recommended pros and super smart people to get you great information. And you can get access to that. Primarily, just head over to treradio.com. You can find your way to lots of really valuable stuff.
Not to brag on Mason too much, but I'm going to for like 30 seconds. We have a client of ours. We had a big conference that we put on over the last week. And so we didn't really record any videos for like a week. And so we had somebody reach out to us, one, to brag on Ryan, who's one of our buyer specialists, who's just done a tremendous job taking care of them. But at the very end of the email, it was like, and I noticed that there was no new videos that went on this week. So can you guys kind of get me some new videos up, please?
Yeah, I love it. And I love that our subscribers are looking for videos at least twice a week. And right there on the YouTube channel, it tells you when we publish. So you can go directly to the YouTube channel at tthst.tv, like television. TTHST is short for Todd Tramonte Home Selling Team. And that's what we're doing all day, every day throughout the week to sharpen the saw, to improve and increase our expertise and our knowledge of the marketplace, selling hundreds of homes every year, so that we can be a great resource for you here on Saturdays. But don't forget, you can reach out to us for help and information and insight and recommended vendors. And of course, to buy, sell, or invest in real estate all day, every day. You can call us or text us at 214-310-0008. That's 214-310-0008. Or you can always find us online at overunderagent.com, because we do guarantee to sell your home over the average price and under the average time. Now, I'm going to let out a little secret here that I have not told our team here, but we're working on a program right now that if you want to sell and buy right now, we can help you buy first and buy all cash and not have to be contingent, and then be able to sell your home without any stress at all. So if something like that is interesting to you, to be able to sell and buy without the pressure of being contingent or worrying about the financing challenges of that, if you'd like to be able to buy first and then sell guilt-free with minimal expense and be able to make an all-cash offer and be more competitive, then head over to overunderagent.com as well. And in the comment section, just say, I'd like more information about being able to buy first. And we'll be happy to get those resources to you. All of that is online at overunderagent.com. All
right, we'll get into it right after I tell you about valuethishouse.com. Jump over to valuethishouse.com right now. You can get your home valuation, see what it's worth, or see what it would rent for in less than 60 seconds. Less than 60 seconds. Valuethishouse.com. It's going to give you a confidence score. If it's anything less than 90, reach out to us. Just say, hey, give me a little bit more context. Give me a little bit more of a custom valuation. Honestly, we're happy to do that with anybody. Valuethishouse.com. Okay, let's jump into it, Todd, and let's talk a little bit about, this season towards the end of the year. We talk about it a lot. Winter time, good time to sell, bad time to sell, bad time to buy, good time to buy. We even had questions on this from other agents around the country on how do you inform and educate people, because I don't know how to do that. And so that's been a common theme that we've had in our consulting group this past week.
Let's start with what you don't do. Okay. What I would not want you to do as a real estate professional right now is to tell your clients, well, wait till spring and summer. Don't do that, right? If you're a real estate agent listening right now, be more than a one-trick pony, right? Which, by the way, that just means you only have one trick. You only have one strategy. You only have one cool thing you do, right?
Do we all know what that trick is that the pony does, by the way?
Well, a lot of it is just spinning around in a circle. Let's be honest with you. There's some pretty cool equestrian trick. My daughter wants to get into horse riding, and I haven't fully decided if we can be those people. But
I'm just imagining like a juggling pony or something. Anyway, I digress.
We love horses and we love the country, but there's a whole nother ball game to get into, like, super well-trained horses and stuff. But anyway, all that to say, that's not a good approach to being a world-class expert real estate agent, is to say, I only have one strategy. It's a spring-summer strategy. It's a hope buyers get a house for less than the seller's asking, or hope a seller puts a sign in the yard and gets a buyer. like just wait and get a buyer. Like that strategy's pretty low bar. That's not world-class. That's not expertise. That is like, I got my license on the internet late at night and we're friends, so you're going to do me a favor and I'll get a commission and hopefully you don't get hosed. That's what I would not want people to do. Now, what advice would I give as we approach the end of the year, beginning of the year, colder fall, winter weather, fall, winter season, winter break from school, that kind of stuff, is I would encourage real estate agents to think more critically, to understand the market and the history of the market and the trends and momentum of the market. And then I would encourage the consumer, the buyer, seller, investor, to carefully choose a real estate professional that has the ability, and then really the track record, they've proven they have the ability to create a customized approach. If you're selling, that's a customized marketing and sales and really follow through approach, execution approach. How are you going to actually execute that plan? And then on the buy side, what's the custom plan? How are you going to execute that plan? So here's what I recommend. This is buying season. If you follow us on Facebook, just go find @Todd Tramonte or @Todd Tramonte Realtors. And we've been putting out some marketing material lately that says it is buying season. Like if you're a home buyer, this isn't exactly like let's throw a parade and go steal houses. That's not happening right now. But this is your best shot, probably in the last 10 months and in the next 5 or 6 months at least, to get a little more leverage in your buying process, right? And the reason is as we head into fall and winter, generally on average, seller confidence goes down. Sellers start thinking, shoot, we missed spring and summer. My grass is starting to die. It's a little funky outside. People are thinking about the holidays. If we don't sell it now, we got to wait till next spring and summer and we miss the opportunity. And so maybe we should lower our price. Maybe we should be willing to do those repairs for the buyers, that kind of thing, right? If you're a buyer, that's good for you. It also just so happens that as a buyer, right now you're looking at the lowest interest rate that has ever existed in your lifetime for buying a house, regardless of how old you are. And if you're thinking about borrowing money, not everybody is, but if you are, I can't emphasize enough what a financial advantage that is to you. If you're borrowing for 30 years or 15 years, you're talking about a compounding benefit for the next 15 to 30 years. It's an unbelievable advantage. Now, if you're a seller, there are strategies to flip that and use that to our advantage as well. But for the sake of time, I'll just say, if you're buying or selling now, you have the opportunity with a great agent. I would recommend the Todd Tramonte Home Selling Team with a great agent to customize a strategy and to win big on both sides of this market.
I really want to double down on the idea of a customized strategy, right? Because that's something that we see all too often in our industry, is that people just have a one-size-fits-all mentality, product. And the reality is, and I tell people this all the time, your house is different in some way to your neighbor's house, to the house across the street from you, or in a different neighborhood. Like it is. And somebody may say, well, I have a, quote, cookie cutter house, right? It's one of 100 but the finishes are different. Or there's something in the backyard different. There's something that's different. And so, a good team, a good agent is going to find out what is unique about it and create the strategy around that.
Yeah. And the truth is, honestly, I love the challenge of selling a cookie cutter house because I get a clear measurement of what our team and our company actually does, because I can quickly find, here's 24 homes with the exact same floor plan on the exact same size lot in the exact same neighborhood with the exact same schools that all sold in the exact same season, right? So what's the difference? Well, the difference is the agent, the team, the system, the marketing, the approach. So we really, truly can at that point quantify, we can measure the value of our input because everything else is relatively similar.
Look, we sold a house recently in Mesquite. Jeremy sold a house in Mesquite recently, and it wasn't a neighborhood that is full of custom homes, right? But it was a nice neighborhood in Mesquite, and Jeremy set a brand new price per square foot record in that neighborhood. Sold it in 3 days. Sold it for $8,000 over the asking price. and then got the buyers to front $15,000 in cash over the appraisal price.
Right.
Like, you add all of that up. That doesn't happen.
The asking price was at the top end of the price range
it was a brand new record. It's a brand new record. And so, like, that doesn't happen if you go into it blind, not thinking through strategically, what can we do to target whoever it is that this home is ideal for.
That doesn't happen because there's a sign in the yard. That doesn't happen because it's on MLS. It doesn't happen because the agent can fill out a contract.
Right.
It happens because of strategy and skill and communication ability and a lot of deep layers of strategy. So that is the recommendation as we head into fall and winter. This is buying season. If you want to buy a house in the next year and you and your family and your finances are ready, I believe this today is your best option between now and most likely next November. Now, things could change, but that is my estimation at this point. And I think your buying opportunity will increase for the next 30 to 40 days. And then it'll remain flat until late February, where sellers begin to regain confidence and the mentality and optimism of spring will turn around.
I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate, and because you keep saying it's buyer season, it's buying time.
Yep.
So does that mean as a seller, because I know that people are having this thought and question out there, as a seller, does that mean that I'm going to get less for my house today than if I was to wait 30 to 45 days when you're saying that the buying time is over?
Yep. You ready for an answer that's going to surprise even you?
Do it.
Yes. If you don't have the right strategy and you're selling right now, you're going to get less for your house. But if you do have the right strategy and you have a great agent and you have a great team of all the necessary professionals to sell a home in a world-class way, which would include stagers, photographers, videographers, title company, mortgage inspectors, appraisers, surveyors, all those things. If you have a great professional team, almost always led by a great agent and broker, then it's best of both worlds right now. It sounds too good to be true, but we're in a market where if you have the right strategy, you can sell at the highest price ever. We just gave a story about Jeremy.
Yep.
Jeremy and John do this like 90% of the time.
Oh, I've got others to share later.
So you can sell and break an all-time record. You could turn around and buy at the lowest interest rate in the history of American civilization and get a great deal as a buyer. Now, let me be clear. When I say it's buying season, you're not going to buy a house at half price. Like it can happen in this market, but it's not happening regularly, right? This isn't 2008 where there's a bunch of short sales and foreclosures and banks are worried and sellers are worried. Is my house ever going to sell? And is it going to take 2 years to do that? This is a different market. We are definitely in a seller's market. What I'm saying is being in a market where sellers have significantly more, massively more leverage than buyers do. Knowing that that is the world we're living in, there's a window right now where buyers have more leverage than they have for a long time and have more leverage than they probably will in a few months.
Well, and just to brag a little bit on what we have here on the team, this is a big part of the reason that each of our agents specializes in either helping sellers or helping buyers.
Yep.
Because to be able to create that strategy, you need to be trained in how to effectively create that strategy for your buyer or for your seller client. It's really hard to do both, right? Yeah. We talk a lot about it is two completely different skill sets, mindsets to work with sellers and to work with buyers. And so that's a big part of the reason that we specialize.
Yeah. And let's flip it. Let me ask you a question for folks that are tuning in. We just hosted an event last week for 140 something, whatever, agents from all over the United States and Canada, virtual. And these are good people. Like these are people that paid to be at a conference because their business is growing and they want to grow more and they want to learn and they want to get better. And they wanted to learn how our team does what our team does, what our tools and systems and strategy are. So this is a paid conference, people that want to grow. How many of them were super excited to hear the information that we just shared right now so that they could go back and take advantage of fall and winter in their markets? That was not already their strategy.
Yeah, all of them, because it's something new that people don't talk about, because even the people that are coming to a conference like that, they've been trained by an industry that tells folks spring and summer. Spring and summer, that's it.
Yeah.
Like fall and winter, you better have had a really good 6 months beforehand because you're going into a really hard season in real estate. And the reality is it's just not true.
Store up your acorns and hibernate for the winter. Or the alternative is the shady side, which is it's always a great time to buy and sell. It's always a great time to buy and sell. It's always a great time to buy and sell. And please don't hear us saying that. What we're saying is it's the greatest time to sell a home in the history of North Texas. It's a hard time to buy. But if you're going to buy, there's a lot of positive factors for you right now.
Right.
Lowest interest rates ever. And if you buy a home today, the value of that home will go up tomorrow. Now, here's my last thought, and then we'll transition out of this topic. If you're thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to wait then. I'm going to wait to buy. That's a bad idea if you want to buy in the next year or 2 or 3, because home values are going to continue to rise. The local economy here looks like it's going to continue to grow. Jobs are going to be healthy. We've got land to build on. The relative cost of construction and living here is significantly more attractive than a lot of other parts of the country. We have massive numbers of people moving here from other parts of the country, especially California and the Northeast, even the Midwest. We've got people here moving here for land, moving here for jobs. As we see virtual work transforming the way and places people live, Texas is becoming unbelievably attractive. If you haven't been to our YouTube channel lately, check the comment section. People are moving here in droves. I don't see any logical reason that this is going to change anytime soon. So waiting to buy will be really expensive. Waiting to sell, a little bit more secure, but you never know. Interest rates go up or something swings significantly and buyer confidence could go down, and then your selling opportunity could go down too. But that's a little less certain.
The last thing I'll say too is that here in Texas, we don't have to deal with the winter weather stuff that a lot of places do. Right. We have a client in Montana who just told us like, hey, for the next 6 months, we're 6 feet under snow.
Right.
That changes the real estate market for somebody like that. We don't have to deal with that.
Yep.
Jump over to valuethishouse.com, valuethishouse.com. Get your home valuation in less than 60 seconds. I think it took me about 45 seconds last time I did it. Yep. Todd just did it today to see what his home was worth on the website. Jump over to valuethishouse.com. If you want a little bit more of a custom valuation, just respond to the email. We'll be happy to reach out to you. We'll call you, have a short conversation, and then we will give you some more details, a more custom valuation, a more custom idea of what it would look like to sell your house.
Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Donald Trump.
I think you just like saying that.
I just think people are so wired up right now, so wound tight, so happy, so angry, so fearful, so anxious. I can't rest your soul, your heart about who's going to win this election, but I can encourage you around what it's going to mean for real estate, and we're going to do that at length in the second part of the show today. Because we're gonna take some real time on that, right?
You imagine how wound up everybody is now?
Yeah, just because
3 days from now, just be ready.
Get excited. All right, folks. If you need, if you're interested in saving money, raise your hand if you're interested in saving money, and everyone raise their hand. Yes, if you're interested in saving money, you've got to check your insurance once a year or so. If you're not checking to make sure you've got good coverage at the right price, you're probably leaving money on the table every year. And part of that is having a good insurance broker who can shop your insurance to multiple different carriers, right? This year, XYZ Insurance might have, their appetite might be for someone just like you. And so you get best pricing. And next year, they change their algorithm. They change their actuarial tables, and the price goes up for someone like you because you're no longer their ideal client. Reach out to DP Lambert. He can shop your insurance to 10, 12, 15 different carriers, but he can be your insurance expert every year going forward, right? That's what I've done. That's what a lot of people here in our office have done. Saved a bunch of money, increased coverage. It's been really, really great. You can email him at dp.lambert@goosehead.com, or you can find all of our recommended pros over at treradio.com. Joe Biden, Donald Trump will be back after the break and tell you why, regardless of who gets elected president, what it's going to mean for you as a homeowner or as someone who wants to be a homeowner. We'll be back with more Texas Real Estate on WBAP.
It's Chris Crockford, Todd Tramonte with Ken. An investor called you up, Ken, and offered you $209,000. But what happened?
I was almost ready to take it just because of cash, quick, and convenience. But I remember hearing about the Todd Tramonte Group and just all the good reports I'd heard about them. I thought this may be worth it, try to get some more money.
And so you called the Todd Tramonte home selling team because you heard me talking about it on WBAP, and what happened?
John Kanika came out and told me he thought we could list at $275,000.
You must have thought that the Todd Tramonte home selling team was nuts.
Well, that's exactly what I thought. I said, okay, you got 1 week to get me under contract.
Sure enough, what happened?
Within a day, we were under contract.
So you closed on the sale and walked away with more money in your pocket.
Walked away with an extra $44,000.
So Ken and Donna Hassler, what do you tell everybody that hears about Todd Tramonte on the Chris Crock Show or on WBAP?
I tell them it is the absolute God's honest truth. They will work hard for you and get you more money for your house. Everything you hear on the commercials are exactly true.
Call 214-310-0008 or go to overunderagent.com and start packing!
Welcome back to Texas Real Estate with your host, real estate expert, team leader, and best-selling author, Todd Tramonte.
Joe Biden, Donald Trump. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's an election afoot.
He's been yelling that the entire break.
Joe Biden is running against Donald Trump.
I've heard about it.
Big announcement today. There's an election going on, and people are freaking out.
Like 3 days from now.
There is an election this stinking week, and people are freaking out. I don't know if I said that already, but people are freaking out. People are saying for a month, 2 months, 3 months now, people have been saying we're not selling until after the election, or we got to sell before the election. And hopefully you've been tuning in and hearing me say, breathe, calm down. I really, really, really don't think this election is going to have a tremendous amount of impact in the short term on your Dallas-Fort Worth area residential real estate. Now, I'm going to explain that to you, and I'm going to take some time to do that, but I want people to hear me loud and clear. I said that carefully. There is no economic indicator, and there are no major short-term direct impact political policies that I see that are going to have a major impact on your Dallas-Fort Worth area residential real estate in the near term. Okay? Very carefully said. Commercial real estate, be a little more careful about that. I've got some friends involved in some of the literally the largest commercial transactions in all of Texas right now, and they are all being extraordinarily careful because the future of that world with remote work and things like that is super volatile right now. A lot of opportunities when there's volatility in the market, by the way, but that's a whole nother deal. When it comes to your home or your rental house or your apartment complex or your duplex or fourplex, I'm telling you, both Joe Biden and the Democratic Party and Donald Trump and the Republican Party want a vibrant, successful, growing, healthy, positive residential real estate market, right? Neither one of them wants to get elected and immediately make decisions that are going to hurt residential real estate. It is one of, if not the largest drivers of the local economy. Now, the national economy is simply the cumulative total of a bunch of local economies. Of course, the national economy also factors in international trade and global tariffs and crazy stuff like that. But in the United States of America, we are a union of states. We are a states filled with cities and counties and, whatever. I'm trying to think of what you call the commonwealths and things. They're local communities that add up to state and national communities, right? So the point is this. In almost every corner of the United States right now, not all, I do recognize there are some exceptions, but almost every corner of the United States right now, residential real estate is actually really healthy. But I'm not talking to everyone in the country right now. I'm talking with our friends and neighbors in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There is land to build on. Material costs are higher than they've been in a long time, but they're still relatively affordable to the rest of the country. People are moving here in droves. People here can buy and live in housing more affordably than almost any other place that affords them the same opportunities. Educational, employment, travel, communication, recreation, all these things.
Well, I think it's important for people to understand that here in North Texas, we're somewhat of isolated is not the right word, but when things happen throughout the U.S. as a whole, North Texas does not seem to be as effective as other places.
Well, as for the last 30 or 40 years, that's absolutely true, right? We have survived and fought through economic and real estate challenges as well, if not better, than any other community in North America, right? Now, there's always a few that do well. Houston's typically done well. The whole state of Texas has typically done well. Arizona has had some of the best of it and some of the worst of it. Florida has had some of the best of it and some of the worst of it. We just haven't experienced almost any of the worst of it. Now, I know there are some people that had some pretty rough times in 2008 and 9.
For sure.
But as a whole, on the average, when you run the numbers, Dallas and Fort Worth weathered that as well or better than anyone.
Yep.
Same thing goes for the recent recessions and weird socio-economic political stuffs. Dallas tends to do well. That hasn't been the case in all of history, but it's definitely been the case for the last several decades. And every indicator says it will continue to be that way. Now, we can get more specific, but go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, let's kind of flip it a little bit, right? Let's just think, not worst case scenario, but let's just think, hey, if things were to somehow happen, even though we don't believe it will, but let's just say that the housing market does begin to slightly take a downturn. Like, what does that mean for people?
Well, I think the current market is so attractive that downturn is a long shot. A slowing of pace is much more realistic, right? Home values are rising. There's a tremendous buyer demand. There's unbelievably low inventory, right? So if you envisioned a pendulum, whether you're driving or sitting or whatever, if on your left is a super extreme buyer's market and on your right is a super extreme seller's market, the pendulum is all the way to the right now.
Yep.
It is as far to the right as it's ever been. There's unbelievably low inventory and unbelievably attractive borrowing power for buyers, which means sellers have tons and tons and tons of leverage.
But it is still a really good buyer's time.
It's a good time to buy because of that low interest rate and because seasonally, some of those sellers start to lose confidence because of fall and winter. But in the grand scheme of how we measure the market, it is an extreme seller's market. So when you say downturn, most people would quantify or define that as property values going down, really hard to sell, hard to borrow, hard to buy, those kind of things. That's the exact opposite side of the spectrum. That we are that's on the other side of the clouds. We can't even see that right now. To experience a negative turn in our market would mean inventory goes up, days on market goes up,
significantly.
Ability to buy gets harder, and all of those things could happen, and we could still stay on the right half of the spectrum. All those things could get more difficult, and we could still be in a seller's market, or those things could get extraordinarily more difficult, and we could become a stable market, or barely lean into a buyer's market. But from where we are today to go to a market where home values are going down noticeably is a long way away. Now, listen, let me be clear. Could it happen? Yes. But it would take a massive adjustment in our market. Is that possible? Of course it's possible. Stock markets have crashed and no one saw it coming, but where we are has weathered a global pandemic, has weathered the most negative stretch of unemployment, the most dramatic bump of unemployment that we've seen in a long time.
Well, and you couldn't expect it either.
Right.
That was not something that could be planned for. The election we know is going to happen every 4 years.
Right. But my point is we have just weathered the most unforeseeable and traumatic economic experience that most of us have ever lived through. Now, 9/11 plays, right? 9/11 was unforeseeable, traumatic, nationwide. This was worldwide, right? I'm not saying one's better or worse. I'm saying that's the only other thing that most of us can even compare to. I mean, honestly, the Depression was slower to approach and slower to go away, right? So those are the only things that even show up on radar that are equivalent to what we've just experienced, where literally people weren't allowed to leave their home, entire sectors of the economy were punched in the gut. And through all of that, our housing market values have gone up and borrowing ability has gone up. So that's where we are when we say, how is this election going to impact real estate? It may not impact it at all, meaning things will probably continue to move forward exactly the way they have been. Now, are there policies, are there things that one party usually does or might do or says they're going to do that would indirectly impact housing? Of course, right? Things that indirectly impact taxes, that indirectly impact employment, that indirectly impact one industry, one region of the country more so than other, right? There's been recent talk about oil and gas. There's talk about green energy. There's talk about payroll taxes. There's talk about all those things would trickle down or spider their way out and indirectly over a longer period of time impact one thing versus another, right? In North Texas, the airline industry is a big driver. The banking industry is a big driver. Transportation's a pretty good driver, right? Things that would have major impact on those things could hurt us. But those things, retail has been hurt badly. Airlines have been hurt badly, right? A lot of that has already happened. Politics is not likely to try to make it worse. Most politicians and parties are trying to be part of that solution and make it better. So my goal in all of this is not to tell you that I have a crystal ball. It's to tell you that almost every logical, trustworthy piece of data and trending says that our local real estate market is not going to be impacted massively in the short term by either president or either party. Let's all take a deep breath, and then we can get right back to shouting, Joe Biden, Donald Trump. But the point is, if you're worried about what's going to happen to your house or your apartment or your condo or your investment or your lake home or the lot you bought, take a deep breath. If you would like to go specifically into your property, call me. 214-310-0008. One of our specialists on our team can give you more certainty and more confidence and more data and more comparison, and you can breathe. 214-310-0008. You can call or text 214-310-0008, or you can always go online on your cell phone or your laptop or your iPad or whatever. overunderagent.com, overunderagent.com. Even if you just need to, I just need to talk about real estate and cool off a little bit, feel free. overunderagent.com. We are here to help you.
Well, when you go to valuethishouse.com and you get your home valuation and you see what your property is worth, see what your property might rent for, it's also going to send you monthly updates. So you can actually keep track of, is my home value going up or is my home value going down?
Right. If you want them. If you don't want them, you can turn that off immediately. It's an offer to help you see what's happening in the market and literally how it impacts you. overunderagent.com for help and for conversation and for strategy. Valuethishouse.com to know what your home would sell for or rent for in less than 60 seconds. It does give you a confidence score. If that's not as high as you would like it to be, I would say if it's under 90 or so, just reply to the email if you want, if you're motivated enough, and say, hey, I'd like a deep dive valuation from an expert. And then someone will reach out to you and get some information to do that for you. No charge. Valuethishouse.com.
So part of the reason that I wanted to discuss that previous question of like just what if, is because even in the slightest of slowings down, the message that normally comes through via media or whatever is that we're in this shift, right? We're going through these things, and then people start to panic. And so I kind of wanted to preemptively get out there in front of all of that and just say, hey, look, it's not going to be like the world's end. Yep. If something like that was to happen. So that's all good. I've got a couple of really cool stories that I thought it would be good to share. Let me pull those up.
Real quick while you're doing that. Yep. We had a lot of rain this last week, and our studio is in the office, in our main Richardson office. We had a couple of leaks. You know how annoying that is. We came into the office. There was a couple of actually, there was one by the ping pong table, which is, you do not want to mess up the ping pong table, people. So we called Stryker Roofing. And that's what you should do. If you had leaks, if you had wind damage, if you have gutter issues or shingle issues or flashing issues, or if you have issues with your fireplace as we head into winter and the cap and water getting in or hail getting in or snow getting in or any of those things, reach out to Stryker Roofing just like we do. Go to StrykerBuilds.com, Stryker Builds, BUILDS, StrykerBuilds.com. Or you can always just go to our website and find all of our recommended pros at TREradio.com.
So to your point of amazing time to sell, great opportunity to buy, here's one of each for you, Todd. So this past week, we sold a home in Seagoville, and it was listed $44,000 above the highest sales price that's ever been recorded in MLS history.
Time out. So one of our team members was encouraged their client to asking price, $44,000 more than any home had ever sold.
In that neighborhood, yeah.
Okay, so real quick, let's just illustrate. A lot of times you would say, what an idiot. Why would they do that? Other times you might say, well, of course they can ask that, but they'll never get it. So back to you.
Yeah, and this one was Jeremy again. So the first one I told you was Jeremy. This one was Jeremy again. If you were going to guess, how many days do you think that would take to sell?
Normally in Seagoville, in a home in that range, probably 40 or 50 days, maybe more. How much land was on it?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Okay, 40 or 50 days.
But I'll tell you that it's sold in 5.
Well, it turns out, folks, that's once again about 10% of the market average.
Yep.
Seagoville's a great area, but days on market's a little bit longer than some of the inner area neighborhoods. So, okay, carry on.
All right, Leah, buyer extraordinaire over in Fort Worth, coming back to work after she just had a sweet baby.
Yes,
She's been having some mama time.
Back again.
Leah's back.
Back again.
She just closed a home for one of her buyers. The listing price, ready? $665,000.
Okay.
Home purchased $657,000. We're looking pretty good.
Okay.
What are we at? We're at $8,000.
Buyer saved at least $8,000. Okay.
$4,400 back in seller concessions.
$12,400.
Home appraised $667,000.
I lost my math there. A lot of money. Buyer saved a lot of money.
We'll say you got about $15,000 in equity straight away.
Okay. So a buyer's buying a home in the market that we just spent the last hour basically explaining is the most outrageous opportunity for sellers ever.
As we just showed by the $44,000 over the biggest price, and the one in Mesquite with the record-setting price per square foot.
But Leah's helping her clients buy beautiful, gorgeous, nice homes well below market value, getting sellers to do things for her clients that sellers are just simply not doing in this market.
And Brandon, this past week or so, just finished one where we got it $8,000 under the appraised value,
which is crazy because appraisals are tightening up again. So it's probably more like 15 or 20,000. And then you heard from Chris Kroc during the break, actually telling a story about where John got a client 42 or 44,000 more than they were about to accept an offer from an investor, and then they worked with John, and within a week had $40-something thousand extra in their pocket, takeaway net in their pocket after all expenses. Unbelievable. It's beautiful. I'm proud of this team. If you need help buying or selling a home, yes, my name's on the door. Yes, this is our team, but I can't be more proud of these people and the results they're delivering to our clients. Call us at the Todd Tramonte Home Selling Team, 214-310-0008, 214-310-0008, or you can text us, 214-310-0008, or go online anytime, day or night, any device you like, overunderagent.com, because we still guarantee to sell your home over the average price and under the average time, overunderagent.com. We'll get back to you. We'll have a professional, an expert, a dedicated, focused, laser-focused expert walk you through your options, what might be possible for you, and help figure out how you can sell high, buy low, or both right now.
Okay, so let's skip the election piece of it now. Okay, I don't know if you know this or realize this, but in about 3.5 weeks, it's Pie Day here in the office. Yep, Pie Day. Massive pie goes to each one of our past clients, advocates. It's awesome.
They really are big pies.
Massive pies. Like
so good.
They weigh like 8 pounds. It's unbelievable. Super healthy for you too. No sugar.
Yeah.
But that also means that we're really close to the holidays. Thanksgiving is like 4 weeks away, just less.
Yep.
Then we've got Christmas. So if the election is not going to play into the housing market, how about 2 of the major holidays within a month?
Yep, you're right. Here comes this is the fear-mongering part. That's not what this is either. Statistically speaking, homes that are decorated for the holidays actually do sell for a little bit more, even if it's not the same holiday that the buyer celebrates.
I fully advocate for as many huge blow-up inflatables in your front yard as possible.
That's a little different than our strategy for holiday marketing, but I do appreciate your spirit, kind sir. Here's the deal, folks. The holidays, it turns out, I mean, we did an advanced study. We partnered with some very highly skilled institutions of higher learning, which we did not do that. But it does turn out, if you actually just check the calendar, that the holidays, depending on which ones you count, are actually only a handful of days.
Oh, it's like 6 weeks.
Nope. No, there's actually only a few. There's Thanksgiving, which is a day. And there's Christmas, which will give you Christmas and Christmas Eve. If you celebrate Hanukkah, there's 8 nights, but I think most people work a lot of those days. There's also tons of other holidays, right? But the point is, there are only a handful of days between now and the end of the year. New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. There's a lot of days.
Right, but from Thanksgiving to New Year's is like 6 weeks, though.
Right. But again, we sell homes, and the point we're making is if you don't want to show your property on the holidays, if you have family in for a few days before Christmas, great. We don't have to show that home. If you don't want to show the home for the few days before or after Thanksgiving, great. No big deal. If you don't want to show it on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, great. But there's a couple of months there where, as a team, the Todd Tramonte home selling team still tries to and usually succeeds at breaking records.
And I'm repeating that like 3 times because that's the mentality that a lot of people have, right? It's like, it's the holidays. We don't have to do anything for 6 weeks. It's awesome.
Right. And people just wait and they miss an opportunity to win on both sides of the market, to sell high and buy low. And if you wait till spring, that's typically a sell high, buy high market. Right now, if you don't have a great agent, you might be kind of sell middle, buy high kind of market. But if you want to be one of the smart ones, if you want to be one of the more strategic ones, then selling and buying between now and February is a really, really smart strategy. If my wife and I buy and sell, we always buy and sell between October and February. Every time we've ever done that, that's what we've done.
The last time we sold and bought, 5 years ago, we sold January, bought February.
Yep.
Like they lined up together.
Yep. And it's just a smart strategy. It's just taking advantage of the uniqueness of the market on both sides. Right now, there's nothing wrong with selling or buying in spring and summer. That's fine. We always say the best time for you to buy or sell is when you and your family and your finances are ready. There's no pressure from me. What I'm telling you, though, is don't eliminate huge chunks of the year because some, stereotypical, worn out, statement makes you think that that's a bad idea, because that is not true. There's a strategy for every client and there's a strategy for every market if you're working with a world-class, full-time, dedicated, expert real estate agent or broker. There's not a lot of those out there. I'd love to earn your business at the Todd Tramonte home selling team. There are some great agents out there. So if you've got somebody that's knocked it out of the park for you, that has a track record of success, that's full-time, dedicated, expert, that's got access to resources and either team members or vendor partners, and you love them, stick with them. I support that. But if not, and most people don't, then reach out to us at the Todd Tramonte home selling team, 214-310-0008. Go online to overunderagent.com or just Google Todd Tramonte or Google Todd Tramonte home selling team. Check out the reviews that our fantastically generous, kind, wonderful past clients are dropping in there for us in our Dallas office and our Fort Worth office. Just Google Todd Tramonte or Todd Tramonte home selling team. And if you haven't checked your property value yet this month, go to valuethishouse.com and find out in less than a minute. Valuethishouse.com. We're here to help if we can do anything for you. Overunderagent.com. We'll be back next week with more Texas real estate on WBAP.